Charles Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Man, I've got a fun song today. We're going to learn how to do Fire Woman by The Cult. The great Billy Duffy has just writes so many amazing guitar parts. And they're all in here, so we got some really cool solos to check out. We're going to check out all the solos too, except for the outro solo. You know, I'm not an outro solo fan. The producers, they just kind of threw everything at it. They got the singer singing. They've got the full rhythm guitars going. They got the solo itself, the outro solo kind of buried in the mix, and they got like a boys choir and cowbells and cowboys. Cowboys are singing too. Cowboys and cowbells and xylophones, whatever. It all seems to be going on in the outro sections. So I'm just like, I'm done with it. But we're gonna take all the solos leading up to that. In the outro section, just play D minor pentatonic, you're good to go. But anyway, so before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell, and if you actually watch my videos, they'll share the videos when I release new ones, but just subscribing is not going to help. You got to actually watch the videos, so seek out my channel every once in a while, watch the videos, and then when I release a new video, which is a couple a week, my face will pop up on your screen whenever you pull up YouTube, so it'll be great for the channel. And if you truly want to support the channel, the best way to do it and to keep it going is to join my Guitar Academy. You're going to see a link to that in the description below. That's all my courses. None of my courses are on YouTube and stuff. And I have courses for complete beginners to more advanced players in improvisation, ear training theory, guitar tone, guitar technique. I go live streams every weekend with Academy members only. So you get personalized support from me as well too. So when you email me over there, I'm the only one that gets it. So it's great to get to know everybody in the community. And that link will give you 40% off my annual rate. And you get a free 7-day trial too if you've never had an account. So please check it out. Let's jump into the track. I am in standard tuning here. And we had this intro that's got obviously a lot of effects on it. It's got it sounds like a flanger. It's got like a phaser on it. It's got a delay on it. And it's on a 12-string electric. So that's how you get some of those higher notes that are playing. It's being doubled by the kind of octave strings on the 12 string. So that gives you kind of, this sound is decent. Not completely there, but I didn't really try that hard. But so you can research on the internet and you can find better ways of getting better, but it has some of those effects on it. So I'm gonna take those effects off while we're actually teaching it so you can actually hear what all of it sounds like underneath all of it. All right, so let's check it out. This is what it sounds like without the effects. All right, so we're basically gonna start here at the 3rd fret on the low E string, then pick the open D and the open G. And then you're gonna come over here to the 3rd fret on the A string, pick that, and then the open D and G again. So you can play that. And from there, we're gonna go to a D power chord. So that's just the open D string, 2nd fret on the G, and the 3rd fret there on the B. So we have this. Now from there, we're gonna go do this. So this part right here, you don't always hear that B string, especially the very first time he plays it. It's kind of muted, but you do it the rest of the time. So it sounds like this is the pattern that he's actually doing, which is gonna be 3 on the A string, 3 on the D, then the open G. Then just come down here to the 2nd fret there on the D string, then the open G and the open B. And then to that D power chord again. So we have this so far. All right, from there we start over kind of the way we began. So it just kind of repeats that first time, same picking. So nothing new there. And then it just goes to a G. This is a open G power chord. So what that basically means is we've removed this B on the A string there. So you basically just play it like the 3rd fret there on the low E, and then mute that A string with the bottom of that finger. And then you have the open D, open G, 3rd fret on the B, 3rd fret on the high E string. So far, first half of the intro. Oh, sorry. Then you just kind of repeat that the same way. And when we get to the G again, you strum it once, kind of just with that same tone you're using, then you kick in the distortion, strum that G again, and you hear very low in the mix. That's there. That happens a lot in the song, but that is right there leading into this main. So that's just 1 3 1 3 1 on the low E string. You'll hear that a lot in the song, but that is in the very intro. But it's really buried, so kind of have to listen to the isolated guitar track to hear it. All right, and then we get to that part, which is very cool. But first we have to take a look at the chords underneath it. So these chords are in the intro are very similar to what's being just slightly different than what's being played in the verse. So this is chords in the intro here when that lead guitar melody comes in. All right, so that just starts with this D power chord. I like playing it with my pinky there, but you play like that, which is just our standard. It's kind of this 3-string power chord, which is this 5th fret on the A, 7th on the D, 7th on the G. Then slide that down to the 3rd fret. Hit that a few times, and then take the bass note down to the 2nd fret there. I'll keep these at the 5 on the D and the G. And then bring it back up to the 3rd fret. So I like to bar my pinky up. Now here's a little variation that's not in the verse. In this intro section, when he's playing this, he's gonna come down, and before he repeats the riff, he's gonna hit this G power chord off the 3rd fret of the low E string. So it's the same power chord shape, just off the 3rd fret of the low E. And then he goes back to the D. So it kind of looks like this. Repeat. So that's just like the verse, except in the verse, we don't do those little 2 hits on the G power chord. They kind of leave that out. All right, so let's look at the actual melody. It looks like this. All right, so that starts at the 5th fret on the G string. Play 5, 7. Then slide into the 10th fret with some vibrato. Then back to the 7th fret with some vibrato. Repeat. So you do that like 3 times, and then we have this. So that's going to be the 8th fret there on the B string. Then 6, 5 on the B, over to 5 a couple times on the G string. And then just repeat that all again. And then we're gonna end it, just go 5, 7 and just kind of hold that. So that's the intro melody there, and then we get to the verse, which, like I said, is just kind of a simplified version of that progression we just did. So just like. All right, so it's basically, we just left out that G. That's it. So it's the same as the riff that we just did without that a little pickup there. Now we have that riff that goes on here, and then we get to the pre-chorus. So there's a little lick, that leads us into it's kind of technically over the very end of the verse. But I'll leave that for the, kind of because it leads us into the kind of the lead guitar line that's going on during or the more active part that's going on during the pre-chorus. But we have two parts once again in this pre-chorus. So let me do the chords here first. So the chords for the pre-chorus is this, that's kind of when it's coming in. All right, so it looks like this. All right, so that's just that D power chord to this F power chord off the first fret of the low E string, up to the third fret for the G power chord, back to the F. Repeat. So that when it comes up here to that G the second time, and the repeat, kind of hit it 4 times. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then back down to that F, and then you hear that little thing that I said, it kind of takes us into the chorus a lot. And that's right there at the end of the pre-chorus. All right, so then we have the lead guitar line for the pre-chorus. Looks like this. So we kind of start here with this. So that's just kind of, you could be doing this and that there, but it makes more, it's kind of more idiomatic to the guitar. Idiomatic, that's idiomatic. More conducive to being played correctly on the guitar up here. So this is 12 on the D, 12 on the G, then 13, 12 on B. And then we get into the actual pre-chorus. So that kind of thing is the same thing that's repeated, just starts here at the 5th fret. So 5th fret on the A string, then pick that again, then to 7 on the D, then back to 5 on the A. Then over to 7 on the G string. And then there's a little legato lick, which is gonna play 5, hammer on 7, pull off to 5, and slide down to 4, all on the G string. So once you get that lick down, then you just take it, this was at the 5th fret, right? So just take it to the 8th fret. Slides down to the 7 there, and then take it to the 10th fret. And then back to the 8th fret. So it looks like this. Then repeat. So in the repeat, when it gets just to the 8 here, the first kind of does half a. And then we go to this. So he does the power chords up here for this part. So the other part's going. That right there is just doing that higher version of that G, F, kind of, which is just a power chord off the 10th fret there of the A string. And down to that 8th fret. So it's. All right, so then that takes us to the chorus. Now this first chorus, the chorus has, once again, two guitar parts going here. It's Billy Duffy recording all of this on the actual album, though. But they have a collection of different guys live over the years. But they, I believe, not a historian of the cult, but he's the only one actually recording on the album for this stuff anyway. So two guitar parts here. There's a rhythm guitar part that kind of moves around quite a bit, and then there's that lead line, which is very similar to what we did earlier, but this first chorus has kind of like, he does this little variation in it for the lead line. But we're gonna take a look at the chords first. So let's look at the chords for the, so this is going into the chords, and here we go. All right, so that's gonna start here. A lot of sus chords. Not suspicious, suspended. So this is gonna start here, kind of a D major chord. So this is the 5th fret there on the A, and then the 7th fret across the D, G, and the B. And then you're gonna make it a sus4 chord by adding the 8th fret there on the B string, and then back down to the original chord. You're gonna do that on pretty much all the chords. You're gonna have this little sus treatment done. It goes from major to sus. So you do that there at the D on the Ds at the 5th fret, and then you take it down to the 3rd fret for the C. And then it does it on a G. And this one he's gonna have to play a little bit different to get that in. So he's gonna thumb this low note here, the 3rd fret on the low E string, and you have this A string's muted. You can kind of reach over and mute that A string, or you can just mute it with the tip of the ring finger too. So we're gonna play a G major like this, which is, so this is gonna be the 3rd fret on the B, 4th on the G, 5th on the D. So we got this going. And then you're gonna make it a suspended chord, sus4 chord, by playing that 5th fret there on the G with your pinky, and you go back down to the major. So let's play this. Then back to the C. And then we're gonna repeat the chords again, but a little bit higher. Not really repeating it again, it goes up to an F, obviously. So we have this. So after the first 4 chords, first half of the chorus, we go up to here. We go back to the D, and then we take that up to the 8th fret. So it's an F to an F sus, back to the F, and then back to that G that we did before, and then that C again. So all together for the whole chorus riff. Repeat. All right, so, and then it goes to the first solo here. Now, there is a lead line over that chorus, and like this one's a little bit extended. So here's the lead line over the first chorus. So there's a little variation on this one, so it looks like this. Very, very cool. All right, so it starts kind of the way we did it before. So So it does that twice. So basically, that thing that we did in the intro, that melody we did in the intro, that's the first half of the chorus. So he's going to play that the same way. And then the second half of the chorus, he changes up the melody and does this. So that's going to be 5/7 on the G, and then 6/5 on the B, and then back to the 7th fret on the G a couple times. Let's try this. So he does that 3 times here. So this is in the first chorus. He does this 3 times, and then he throws this little variation. So that looks like this: 5/7 on the G. Then it just goes 6/5, 6/5, 6/5 on the B string. And then goes 6/8, 6/5. So it is. And then we're back. We start here because we're kind of right. We can't start. We're kind of in the middle of this. I did that 6/5 to the 7, then back to the original lick. And then we end it like we did the first riff with that. So only the second chorus is not as complicated. So we don't have that little variation. So let me play all through this first chorus here. So out of that first chorus, we're to the first solo. So this first solo is over kind of that verse variation riff that we first came in with at the beginning of the song, where we hit those we have the G hits before we do the repeat. So that one. All right, so this is solo number 1 then. So that's the rhythm, and then here's the actual solo. Here we go. So all of the solos are relatively short, but they keep coming. All right, so we're going to start here with this hammer-on from, this is an overdub, obviously, because he's just now coming out of that part. Just hear that part come in. It's a quick hammer from 10 to 12 on the D string. Some vibrato. And this is kind of a timed bend and release at the 10th fret there on the G string. So kind of bend and release those a few times. And then we go into a bend at the 12th fret. Release. Pull off to 10. Over to 12 on the D string. So play this. Then we have the... So this. So after we get to that note, the 12th fret, we have this double stop, 10th fret on the G and the B. Back to that 12 on the D, and that's 12, 10 on the G, back to that D a couple times. So far we have this. this. So that's just 10th fret on the G, back to that 12 a couple times on the D, and then play 10, 12. Then we have this kind of ending part, which is this. So that's just 12, 10, 12, 10 on the G string. And then he starts this little lick. So that's going to be staccato playing, kind of. You don't want to. So we have this like 13, 12, 10 on the B string, over to 12 on the G, and then we're going to go back up 10, 12 on the B, 10, 12 on the high E string, into a half step bend and release of that 12th fret there on the high E, pull off to 10, over to 13 on the B. So this. So all together. All right, so then we're back to the verse. And we have this little fill Billy comes in with, looks like this. And that kind of leads us into the pre-chorus. So that fill starts with a. So that starts with, you want that to sound like a step and a half bend. So it's kind of a, at the 13th fret, you're bending it a step and a half. And then back down to the 13, just without the bend. And then we have a quick 10, hammer on 13, pull back off the 10, into that bend at the 13th fret on the B string. And then we have those staccato notes again, but the 13, 12, 10 on the high E string. And then we have this. So this is gonna, I'm sorry. That's what it is. So that's gonna be a bend and release at the 13th fret on the B string. Pull off to 10, and then pull off 12 to 10 on the G string. Then we have a bend and release at the 12th fret there on the G. Pull off to 10, over to 12 on the D string, and then back to that 10 on the G. So we're going to stop there for a second. So we have this. So get that much of it down. So get right there, and then we're just going to have this. So that's going to be pulling off 12, 11, 10 on the D string, and then the same thing here on the A, 12, 11, 10, slide down to 8, hammer back on to 10, pull back off to 8. So that little fill there leads us into the pre-chorus, the same pre-chorus, which we have that going on underneath. That kind of thing. So we've got that all together already. And then we go into the second chorus, which has that same rhythm. So that what's going on underneath it is the same, but what's going on with the lead is a little bit more simple than the one we did before. So let me play this second solo here. Second chorus here. You're gonna see the little melody is a little bit more consistent. So it looks like this. right, so that's just like the first chorus there, the first half of it. So now the second half of it, this is where we don't do that little variation. We just continue doing this. You do that 3 times, so we didn't do any of that. 3 times of this lick. And then that same ending that we did in the first half. And then repeat that again. Forgot the end of it there. So that's it. Same ending. All right, then we get to solo number 2. So this one's over a little bit different. Chord progression, very simple, and they kind of lay back everything a little bit rhythmically. So it looks like this. So this is the chords underneath solo number 2. All right, so that's going to be that D power chord again, just those 3 strings. And then we're going to go to a C sus2. So what that is just the 3rd fret there on the A string, open D, open G, and then the 3rd fret there on the B string. And then we go to a G major chord with B in the bass, which is first inversion. So this is just as simple as just taking this note on the A string at the 3rd fret, taking it down to the 2nd fret. And we still have the open D, open G, and that 3rd fret there on the B string. Back to the C sus2. So that's the 4 chord progression. You just repeat it twice. All right, so what's the actual solo that Billy does over that? Looks like this. All right, so that's going to be a bend at the 13th fret there on the B string. Then pick it again. And there's a quick little hammer from 10 to 13 on the B, and then pull back off that 10. And then a bend at the 13th fret, kind of a bend and release at 13th fret on the high string. And then we're going to have this. So that's going to be the staccato notes again. 13, 12, 10 on the high E string. And then you're going to pick them and pull off. Just sort of pull off those from 13 to 12, 12 to 10. Over to 13, a bend at the 13th fret there on the B string. So with and then, sounds like he plays the note twice, but the first one's a bend, and then the second one is sliding in to the 15th fret there on the B string. And then we have, which is 13, 15 on the high string, bend and release on that 15, down to 13 again, and 15 on the B. So far we have this. All right, then we're going to the G string at the 12th fret. So that's a bend at the 12th fret there on the G, and then we have this, which is going to be that 10, hammer 12, pull back up to 10, slide down to 9. And then go back 10, 12, and then a few bends there. A few bends on that 12. Pull off to 10, over to 12 on the D, so we have this. And then the ending. gonna slide into the 14th fret there on the G string, over to the 13 on the B, then play that 14 again, back to the 13. Then shift up to the 15th fret there on the B string, then play 18, over to 15 on the high E string, slide up to 17, and do a bend at the 20th fret on the high E string. That's the way it is. All right, and that is it for solo number 2, and then we get to the bridge. So I'm going back to the clean setting, and this one's is a little bit different than the intro that when we previously played this part. So it looks like this. Then it's a little interlude. All right, had to do that. All right, so let me cut this effects off of this thing again. And so it's the same that we did before. So I'll show you where it's different. So it's just like the intro. So on the repeat, this is where he changes and does this. And then the rest of the riff is the same. All right, so that little thing right there, so when you're doing the repeat, so after you, so we have this. So that's all. That's the only thing that's different there. So it starts off with 3 on the high E, 3 on the B, and then 3 on the open G. I mean 3 on the open, just open G, and then that 3rd fret there on the A string, and then the high E and the B again with the 3rd fret. So this. And so that kind of replaced this. On the repeat, it was just this. And then the rest of the riff is the same. So let me play the whole bridge for you again, just so you can make sure you got everything down. So it looks like this. With this little variation at the beginning of it. Into the G. And then here we kind of come into this part. It looks like this. There's got a rhythm guitar part and a lead guitar part once again. So this rhythm part to this kind of little interlude section, real quick, with some, we got a lead guitar part, which we'll take care of in a second. Very short, but looks like this. All right, so it starts on the A power chord. Then the 3rd fret on the low E string, just a lot of vibrato, and then the 2nd fret. And then back to the 3rd fret. And then there's this little. This could be, it's really low in the mix. It could be, I think the guitar is doing it. But it could be just bass. But it's, so we have, it's just a pull off from 2 to 0 on the open A. Back to that 3rd fret there on the low E. So we have this. Back to the A. The 3rd fret then. 2nd fret there, hit a few times, and then the 3rd fret on the low E string, and then that takes us into the chorus there. But before that, over that little interlude section, we have a little solo again. Looks like this. right, so we're gonna start with some unison bends here. So this is gonna be holding the 5th fret there on the B string, and then you're gonna be bending up the 7th fret on the G. So they become the same pitch. So it's a unison bend. So you're bending this until it matches that one that you're holding on the B. And then take that same exact thing at the 8th fret. And then the same thing at the 10th. So this is where the index finger is at, right? And then back to the 8th. Try this. All right, and then back to 10, and then up here to 12. So that's the end of the unison bends, and we had this. So this little lick here, a bend at the 15th fret there on the B string, and then you're gonna play 12, hammer on 15, pull off to 12 on the high E string. So it's kind of does it like 3 times. And then a quick little, another one little hammer pull, and then into a bend at the 15th fret on the high string. So 3 or 4 times. We'll just kind of wing it. All right, and then it goes to the outro chorus. So we get to the last chorus, it's pretty similar. He might be doing slightly, whatever lines are. Like I said, we get to the outro section, you're just kind of going off. There's a lot of things, and then the guitar solo comes in it, but it's way buried in the mix. So there's all these little things going on. So I don't do a lot of outro sections, this is my nemesis. But we do have the very end of this song, which basically is just gonna be, you kind of just start with that, goes back to this, plays a D5, D power chord. God, dude, this is horrible. And then it's just kind of hear this D5, and then they just kind of repeat the. So it's that same, it's like the very first time I'm playing it, which is that 3rd on the low E, open D, open G, and then that 3rd fret on the A, open D, open G, and then that D power chord. So they just kind of repeat that. As it fades out and stuff. So it's not the full intro and stuff, it's just that very beginning of it, just repeated. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of guitar stuff going on in this track, but some really, really cool stuff. So at that outro section, if you want to do the solos like Billy, just D minor pentatonic all day. So a lot of the solo was in that already, so you can kind of just follow the same skill patterns we were using then. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.